as if he had just discovered it. He said, Dave, what do you do? Oh, they're talking to me now. This is great. So I started telling them what I do for a living. And my sponsor, who was sitting on my right, shushed me. I thought, dang, I broke another rule. I didn't know. So I got pretty upset. And I went home that night. And actually, I asked the guy, I said, what was that all about? And he said, we don't brag on ourselves in Rotary. I said, I was just trying to answer the man's question. He said, well, just be careful. And I thought, this is too many rules for me, so I'm out of here. I went home that night and I told Marilyn, I said, Rotary's not working for me. And she said, I don't care. That's fine. And I said, well, good. We don't have to talk about that. And I turned to walk away and she said, what are you going to tell Pop? Dad. I didn't know. I mean, I hadn't even thought about it. And I'm new to the family, right? So a couple weeks later, we were over in North Wisdom Hills, Virginia, and Nana and Marilyn were chatting away in the living room, and Pop and I were communing in front of the Cowboy game. And he had the remote, and he was asleep. So you can picture this, right? And I'm sitting there wondering when I'm going to get my shot. And finally, the commercial came on. You know how the volume goes up? And it's intended to get your attention. It woke him up just enough to mute, and I thought, okay, this is it. And so I gave him my best rehearsed list of the things that Rotary was doing for me. In fact, he said, is that it? And I said, yes, sir, I believe so. He said, well, that's the most impressive list I've ever heard of what Rotary's not doing for someone. And now, like an idiot, I said, thank you, because I thought it was a compliment. He said, I just have one question for you. Now, at this moment, I'm thinking, okay, if I get this right, whatever it is, I'm out of Rotary, but I'm still in the family. That's what was going through my mind at the moment. And he said, what are you doing for Rotary? That's all he said. And folks, it changed my life. My compass needle was so 180 degrees, WIIFM, that I had no clue why I had joined Rotary. I didn't know. And I have spent the last 25 years trying to find frequent, appropriate, and worthy answers to that question. It's a great question. It's a great question. Because it's so interesting how easy it is for us to get caught up in all of the techno battle and all of the job-related pressures and all of the social and family-related pressures and all the things that are competing for the time of our lives, which is the most precious thing we have, is the time. The time you're spending here tonight, as a matter of fact, is a gift. Because once this evening is gone, you'll never get it back. This is it. So if it's part of your lifetime that you're contributing to something, please make choices to make sure that it's worthwhile. Because you're giving your life for it, you better love it, right? It's an interesting concept that an engineer shared with me once. When he said, that's the definition of life. Between the time you're born and the time you die, you only have that time you're contributing, but it doesn't matter if it's a second or a minute, an hour, a day, a week, or whatever it is. Whatever you're contributing, that is your life come and gone. Make sure you give your life to something worthwhile. And that's kind of what Pop was trying to tell me, is that in the middle of all my business, and in the middle of all the things that I thought were important, what was in it for me, it's important to stop from time to time and ask that question. What can I do? Maybe just a simple question like, how can I help? How can I help? And answers are abundant. They'll be all around. I remember a guy, you may have not heard of him, his name was McSpadden. He taught a class out at Berkeley, and it was on love. And one of the things that he was teaching a master's course in sociology. And he was talking about love in this particular class. And he, at the end of this class, he said, I'll tell you what I want you to do. In fact, the class was about this size. He said, I would like for you to go out, instead of coming to class tomorrow, take the time that you scheduled, the hour and a half, I'd like for you to go out and just help somebody and do something good. And then come back, and and if you'll do that and write up a report, it will go towards your passing grade in this class. And at the end of the class, there was a young man walked up to him and he said, Dr. McSpadden, I don't understand. He said, what do you mean you don't understand? I thought I was pretty clear in my instructions. He said, no. He said, what I don't understand, he says, I've been around this. I've seen a lot of stuff going on. Well, he said, pretty much everything that needs to be done has been done. his attitude was that it all seems to be working out there, why bother me with it? He said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a specific assignment. He said, okay, if you could help me, that'd be great, but I don't want to bust your course. He said, come with me. And he put him in a car, and he took him out to a nursing home. And he walked into the front door, and I don't know if you've ever been in a nursing home. They're not happy places. And as soon as they walked through the front door, there was a wide corridor that was lined up with wheelchairs. There were people in them that were slumped over in various stages of sleep or staring off at the wall or whatever. Basically lost. And he looked around for a second. He said, you see that second woman back there on the left? He said, yes, sir. He said, just go talk to her and you'll pass. He said, that's it? Just go talk to her? He said, yeah, just go talk to her. So he walked back, and she was asleep. So he got down like this, and he's trying to get her attention. He's going, trying to get her to wake up. And finally she woke up and looked at me. She said, are you one of my relatives? He said, no, ma'am. He said, good, sit down. And he sat down right on the floor, and she told him the most amazing things in her life. And her face lit up, and she got to re-experience the memories, which was all physically and mentally and emotionally she had left. But she shared them with him, and he was better because of it. And as a result of that, the next afternoon, it was 2 afternoons later, he said, there was a break in the class schedule, and he saw this guy with this lady in her wheelchair and 3 of his other classmates with others in wheelchairs, pushing them across the campus, giving them a tour. That's how far off we get sometimes. And we're all guilty, not just a college guy that is all caught up in himself. But we're all guilty of this from time to time. The cool thing about Rotary is that our motto is service above self. That's our motto. And we have other things that we're all about. Some of our basic values. For instance, at the end of this meeting, chances are pretty good that this club, like most clubs around the world, all 32,000 of them, in their language, are going to be reciting something called the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. And it is an acid test, let me tell you. I know, I was visiting with Ray before this started, and he and I are both in the contracting business. And I can tell you that, and as our attorney friend can also tell you, when you get into an adversarial or a contracting type agreement and you're trying to work on passing the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do, it is a challenge. When you go into a relationship of any kind, and you want to live by, is it the truth? Everything you do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? And from those 2 present tense questions, will it be something that will build goodwill and better friendships? And last, will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's a powerful target. A powerful target. But you know what it leads to? It leads to something that we have never needed more in this country today than we have right now, and that is the need for ethics. I mean, do you know over time we needed ethics more than we need now? In everything, in business, in families, even in churches, even in, not just government, but I'm talking about in all walks of our life. And this is a wonderful standard. And it came about as a result, this is a neat story, a guy named Herbert J. Taylor was appointed by